Okay, let's dive right into Genesis chapter 32. This chapter, it's really packed, isn't it? Fear, divine encounters, a struggle that, well, changes everything for Jacob.
It really is a pivotal chapter. We're picking up Jacob's story as he's finally heading back home. It's been, what, 20 years with Laban?
20 long years.
Mm-hmm.
And leaving Laban wasn't exactly straightforward, but now he's got maybe an even bigger challenge ahead.
Definitely. Facing Esau, his twin brother.
The one he famously tricked years back,
Mm-hmm.
stole the birthright, the blessing. That's got to be weighing on him.
Oh, absolutely. That history is the dark cloud over this whole journey home. He's not just returning geographically, he's confronting that past, and he knows Esau has every reason to be furious.
So the chapter opens, maybe a bit surprisingly, not with Esau, but with something else.
Right, a divine encounter. As Jacob is traveling, the text says, the angels of God met him.
Which is quite something. What does he make of that?
Well, he sees them and immediately names the place Mahanaim, means camp of God, or maybe two camps.
Like a sign, an
Yeah.
assurance maybe.
Could be, like a reminder that God's involved, right as he's heading towards his biggest fear on earth.
But even with angels meeting him, his mind snaps right back to Esau, the practical threat.
Exactly. That heavenly sign doesn't stop his very human planning. His next move is all about managing the Esau risk.
So he sends messengers ahead.
Specifically to Esau, yeah, down in Seir, the land of Edom. And the message he gives them is, well, it's carefully crafted, very subservient.
How so?
He tells them, address Esau as my lord, and refer to me as your servant Jacob.
Wow, okay, servant Jacob.
Yeah. And he lays out where he's been staying with Laban until now, and interestingly lists his wealth.
His wealth, like cattle, donkeys, servants.
Exactly. Oxen, donkeys, flocks, male and female servants. He's basically saying, I'm back. I'm reporting to you, my lord. I've done okay for myself, and I hope you'll look kindly on me.
It's a strategy, isn't it?
Mm.
Humility mixed with maybe a hint that he's prosperous now, perhaps useful.
Precisely. Trying to disarm Esau, maybe appeal to his magnanimity or even self-interest, a calculated move.
But the calculation doesn't quite seem to work out as planned, judging by the messenger's report.
No, it backfires, or at least the news is terrifying. They come back and say, we met your brother Esau, and he is coming to meet you.
Okay, that sounds potentially good.
And 400 men are with him.
400 men. Oof. That doesn't sound like a friendly welcome party.
Not at all. For Jacob, this is nightmare fuel. It confirms his worst fears. Esau isn't coming for a chat. He's coming with, well, it looks like an army.
And the text says Jacob was in great fear and distress. You can feel it.
Absolutely. So his reaction is immediate, instinctive, survival mode kicks in.
He divides everything.
Everyone and everything. His family, his flocks, herds, camels, splits them into two groups, two camps.
The Mahani idea again, maybe? But this time driven by fear.
Driven by stark logic. His thinking is, if Esau attacks one group, the other might have a chance to escape. It's damage control.
Protecting his family, his future. It's desperate.
Utterly. But after that immediate physical strategy, Jacob does something else. He shifts gears.
He prays.
Yes. And it's a really revealing prayer. He starts by addressing God directly. O God of my father Abraham, God of my father Isaac.
Grounding himself in the covenant, the family history.
And reminding God, Lord, you yourself told me, go back to your country and your relatives, and I will make you prosper.
Holding God to his word almost.
In a way. And then comes this incredible expression of humility. He says, I am unworthy of all the kindness and faithfulness you have shown your servant.
That's powerful. Acknowledging his own past, maybe.
Perhaps. And he contrasts his beginning, I had only my staff when I crossed this Jordan, with his present state. But now I have become two groups.
Those two groups again, symbolizing everything he has now.
Everything God has given him. But that gratitude quickly turns back to the immediate terror.
The plea.
Save me, I pray, from the hand of my brother Esau, and then the raw fear.
For I am afraid he will come and attack me, and also the mothers with their children. It's not just about him. It's about the innocents, the family.
Exactly. That vulnerability is central. And he finishes by, again, reminding God of the promise.
The descendants' promise.
But you have said, I will surely make you prosper and will make your descendants like the sand of the sea, which cannot be counted. It's like saying, how can this promise be fulfilled if Esau wipes us out now?
It's a bold, desperate, faith-filled prayer.
It really is. But even after pouring his heart out to God, Jacob doesn't just wait passively.
He gets busy again. More strategy.
Yes. Still that night, camped out, he prepares a gift for Esau. And it's not just a gift, it's a massive, almost overwhelming gift.
What does he send?
Get this. 200 female goats, 20 male goats, 200 ewes, 20 rams, 30 milking camels with their young, 40 cows, 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys, 10 male donkeys.
Wow, that's a fortune in livestock, a huge chunk of his wealth.
It's enormous, definitely not just a token, and the
Right.
way he sends it is also strategic.
How does he do that?
He doesn't send it all at once. He puts each type of animal into separate herds, gives each herd to a servant, and tells them to go on ahead.
One after the other.
Yes, with space between each herd. The idea is to create waves of gifts hitting Esau.
Ah, like a softening up process.
Exactly. Each arriving group is a fresh reminder of Jacob's deference, his attempt to appease. He specifically instructs the first servant, if Esau asks whose these are and where you're going,
What should they say?
they belong to your servant Jacob. They are a gift sent to my lord Esau, and look, he is coming behind us.
Your servant Jacob, my lord Esau, repeating that subservient language.
Consistently. And he gives the same instruction to the second, the third, all the servants driving the herds.
So his stated intention.
He says it himself. I will pacify him with these gifts. Perhaps he will receive me. Appeasement through overwhelming generosity. It's another gamble.
So the gifts go off, this multi-wave offering. But Jacob himself holds back.
He stays behind that night, and then he does something else. Something quite profound happens before dawn.
Like that.
That night, Jacob gets up. He takes his 2 wives, his 2 female servants, and his 11 sons,
His entire family.
and all his possessions, everything he has left with him, and sends them across the ford of the Jabbok River.
Sends them away, ahead of him.
Across the river, yes. He ensures they are safe on the other side. And then,
He's left alone.
completely alone, by the river, in the darkness, he deliberately isolates himself.
Why? What happens in that solitude?
That's when the core event of the chapter unfolds. The text says, starkly, a man wrestled with him till daybreak.
A man, just a man.
It starts that way, an intense physical struggle all night long.
And Jacob holds his own.
Amazingly, yes. The text says the man saw he could not overpower Jacob. It's Jacob who seems to be enduring, persisting.
Until the man touches his hip.
Right. He touches the socket of Jacob's hip, and it's wrenched, dislocated during the struggle, a serious injury.
But Jacob still doesn't give up.
Even then, he clings on. The man says, let me go, for it is daybreak. Sunrise is coming.
And Jacob's response.
I will not let you go unless you bless me.
Wow. Even injured, exhausted, he demands a blessing. He senses this is no ordinary fight.
He absolutely does. He knows something significant, something divine perhaps, is happening. He's not letting go of this moment empty-handed.
So does he get the blessing?
It leads to something even more profound first. The man asks him, what is your name?
And he answers Jacob.
Jacob. The name meaning supplanter, heel grabber, tied to all his tricky history.
And the man's reply.
He declares, your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel.
Israel.
Because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome.
Struggled with God and humans.
Yeah.
So the man wasn't just a man.
The implication is overwhelming. The struggle was, on some level, with the divine, and Jacob, through his persistence, his refusal to give up even when injured, has overcome. He's earned new identity.
Israel. The one who struggles with God.
A name change signifying a fundamental transformation. He's no longer defined solely by his past deception, but by this intense, persevering struggle.
What happens after the name change?
Jacob, now understanding who he's been wrestling with, asks the man his name.
Does he get an answer?
No, the man replies somewhat evasively, why do you ask my name? But then, crucially, then he blessed him there.
So Jacob did get the blessing he demanded.
He did, after the struggle, after the renaming. And Jacob names the place.
Peniel.
Peniel, yes,
Yeah.
meaning face of God. And his reason is explicit. It is because I saw God face to face, and yet my life was spared.
He knew. He wrestled with God and survived. Incredible.
A truly awesome encounter. And as the sun rises, literally a new dawn, Jacob passes Peniel.
And he's limping.
Yes. He walks into his new identity, into the meeting with Esau, with a permanent limp from his wrenched hip.
That limp isn't just a footnote, is it?
Not at all. It's the physical sign of the encounter, the mark of his transformation. The text even connects it directly to the Israelite custom observed to this day of not eating the tendon on the hip socket.
So the physical weakness becomes a symbol of the spiritual struggle and victory.
Exactly. It's a powerful paradox. His new strength as Israel is forever marked by this physical reminder of the cost, the struggle.
So, thinking about this whole night, Jacob goes in driven by fear, using human cunning, gifts, prayer. defined by the name Jacob.
And he comes out renamed Israel, having grappled directly with the divine, carrying a permanent physical mark of that struggle.
What does this solitary, intense experience really tell us about his transformation?
It seems the struggle itself is key. It's multi-layered, isn't it? There's the fear of Esau externally, his own internal wrestling with his past and his fear, and then this direct physical, spiritual struggle with God.
And it happens when he's totally alone, stripped down, vulnerable.
Yes, it seems that vulnerability, that isolation is where the deepest encounter happens. He isn't renamed for his cleverness or wealth. He's renamed Israel, the one who struggles with God, precisely because he engaged in that struggle and held on.
The transformation wasn't easy. It was forged in conflict, leaving a scar.
A permanent reminder that his greatest identity shift, becoming Israel, came through intense vulnerability and perseverance in the face of, well, everything, including God himself.
When you look at Jacob's whole experience there in Genesis 32, the fear, the planning, the prayer, the huge gift, then the isolation, and that unbelievable wrestling match that changes his name and leaves him limping, it really does make you think, doesn't it?
It does. You start to think about our own lives, our own struggles. Maybe they're with difficult situations or challenging people, maybe with our own fears or failings.
Or maybe, sometimes in ways we don't even quite grasp, we're wrestling with something bigger, something more profound.
And how do those struggles, whatever form they take, end up shaping who we are, our identity?
And considering Jacob, he found that new name, that blessing, that core transformation, right when he was most alone, most vulnerable, facing the unknown in the dark by that river.
It prompts the question, doesn't it? Is it possible that for us too, our most significant growth, our deepest encounters, maybe they happen precisely in those moments when we feel utterly alone, exposed, locked in our own struggles?
Something definitely worth pondering. That maybe the wrestling itself, in the darkness, is where the real change begins.